Hi everyone, it's Harlan Kilstein, day 3 of 30 Days to Communications Excellence. This is a video I promise you will never forget. You're going to say, boy, that Kilstein guy is crazy. That Kilstein guy is a good teacher. This is the video where things get a little wild, but it's a great lesson. We're going to be talking about rapport. Rapport is the heart of communication. It's how people get along. Now, my friend Dave Dobson used to say rapport is not a city in Italy, meaning it's not a destination. People were, in classic NLP, is saying that they had to get into rapport. Rapport is an ongoing state, but rapport doesn't change someone. What we want to do is we want to start paying attention to when people are in rapport and people who are not in rapport. Talking about two people, okay? Similarly, it's possible for someone to be in rapport with a crowd on stage and to be out of rapport on stage. I don't want to mention any names, but I have been to some of these big marketing seminars, and from the minute someone took the stage, they tried to pretend that they were, an evangelical preacher, and they were just totally out of rapport with the crowd. It bombed. I don't think they made a single sale. And then there were people who really are masters of what they do on stage, and they get into rapport with the people immediately, and you just don't want them to finish. You just want to suck up every single word that they have. You connect with them. So that's having rapport with an entire room. Now, for today's experiment, for today's lesson, for today's video, I have two friends here. We have Free Willy and we have the monkey. And I have to be careful about the monkey because he's a screaming monkey, and if he goes off, I'm just warning you. It's not about that he's not in rapport or he's upset. It's just that I've held him the wrong way. So I'm just warning you, this could get kind of funny. So let's imagine now that we're in a restaurant and we go by and we see Free Willy and the monkey are having dinner together. And so they're sitting at their little table, okay, and they're having cocktails. Now, if they are in rapport, you're going to notice something. If Willy tilts his head over one way, Monkey is going to tilt his head over the same way. If Willy then tilts his head the other way, then Monkey is going to do the same thing. They are so connected. Very often, when you watch couples, you will see who's in rapport. If Monkey reaches up and puts his arm on his little head, Willy's, I don't know if his flipper is going to reach, but is going to pick up his flipper and put it up to his head. Okay, so there's going to be, in rapport, symmetry of movement. They're going to be moving alike. Okay, but a couple who's not in rapport is, which is what you see most of the time, is Willy is going to be telling everything that happened about his day, and Monkey is going to be okay, where's the waitress? Where's the waitress? Is the waitress here? And so forth. And Willy's doing his thing. And, oh, let me tell you, I found this really good fish today. And there was some, there was some really good seaweed. And then a boat came by and I swam around it and go, oh, waitress, can I get a refill on that? Where is she? Whatever. Or just, reaching over. Monkeys do these things like scratching his crotch or something like that. That's not rapport, okay? So what we've just told you is that there's a key to seeing when people are in rapport. Now let's really ramp things up and watch something. And I'm going to give you a clue on how to watch for this. If you go out and you watch people who are in rapport, you're going to see, if you look carefully, and the way to look is to watch their shoulders going up and down, you'll see that they are unconsciously breathing at the same rate. Okay? So what that tells us is the easiest way to get into rapport is to pay attention to the rate that someone's breathing. Watch their shoulders and start breathing at the same rate that they are. That's all. Now, years ago, when I taught about rapport, I taught this technique. Now, to test if you are in rapport, once you're breathing at the same rate at the person, go ahead and remember we had a monkey put his hand on top of his head. Move something. But when you move, don't move like this, which is jarring. Move slow. And then, leave it there. Look with interest at the person. And watch for what happens. In a few moments, if they're in rapport, they will do the same thing back to you. That shows you're there. You've got that rapport. Now, just to show you how evil I was, way back before time, I was a high school principal. And I was also, it was a small high school. I was the guidance counselor for the school, and it was my job to get the kids ready for college interviews. And I taught them about rapport. And we took all the kids to a local college where the president of the university wanted very much for kids from our school to attend his school. So he took time out from his day to meet with the kids in a fancy office. They were all at an executive board table. And it was a small class, and there were maybe 12 or 15 students in the room with the president of the university. He came in, everybody stood up, and he began to talk. And I was on the right-hand side of the president of the university, and all of the students were seated on just one side of the table to his left. So I got to see the whole show. And every single one of them remembered my lessons and started matching the breathing of the president of the university. And I'm going, oh man, they're not going to do this now, are they? They were. And so what happened is, after a few minutes of doing it, the first person takes his hand and goes like this. And seconds later, the president of the university does that. And I see them starting to snicker, because hey, it's working. Okay. Another person comes up and rubs his, area under his nose. President of the university does it. And what happened was they went and they all took turns down the line until the last kid, I remember, took his hands and started rubbing his hair. President of the university didn't do anything. Takes his hand, rubs his hair again. President of the university does nothing. The meeting came to a close. It wasn't a very long meeting, maybe 10, 15 minutes. Because every single one of the kids had gotten into a rapport with the president of the university, as we were leaving, he said, I just want to congratulate you. I have never met a finer bunch of young people. I would love for them all to come into my school. Whether they've applied or not, I want them. Because that's what rapport does. It conveys this sincerity. It really makes things happen. We go outside the president's office. We go outside the building. There's a park there. We go across. We sit in the park, and I say, okay, what'd you guys think? And they are exploding with laughter as how effective this was, except for the last guy. And he's going, but I didn't get him to do my thing. I was putting my hand up and rubbing my hair, and he didn't do it. And I went, one little problem, Detective Holmes. Listen up, Sherlock. He's bald. He didn't have any hair for him to rub his hands through. So everybody started laughing. This stuff is really effective. Go out there. Pay attention to when people are in rapport. Oh, I love you so much. I love you, honey. And they, watch for that. Watch for couples that are not in rapport, and go and get into rapport with people, and you will find that people are drawn to you and are bonded to you if you get into rapport. So match their breathing rate, Match their gestures. We'll talk more about that in our next video. See you tomorrow.